Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Cat Puppet Show. We have some news for you tonight. It has just come down the wire that the Supreme Court has upheld the right of the Westboro Baptist Church to picket and protest in front of Marines and other armed services individuals at their private funerals. Now, tonight on the show, we got a couple of guests. Our first guest that we're going to interview tonight is none other than the pastor of the Westboro Baptist Church. Pastor, say hello. Hello there. Our next guest tonight on the Dead Cat Puppet Show is going to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts. Hi there, John. How you doing? Well, I'm doing pretty good. Guadalupe, thank you. Now, we got some questions to ask the both of you. It appears that the Supreme Court is protecting First Amendment rights. Now, I might be a little confused, but I didn't know First Amendment rights meant pissing on your brother's head and talking dirt when you ain't got no knowledge and you ain't got no love. Now, let me ask you something first. We at the Dead Cat Puppet Show, you know, we might not like what our government does, but I'll tell you damn straight that we support our troops. We have support for those men and women who are dressed in those crazy uniforms. Now, they're protecting America, and the last thing that we need is a bunch of Jim Jones with Kool-Aid in their canvas backpacks selling hate and death to America, especially at an American serviceman's funeral. Well, that's what we think at the Dead Cat Puppet Show. Jim Jones, you can go kiss my ass. Well, I hope you don't get off the show, but you could go kiss my ass. So let's ask Jim Jones some questions here first. Jim Jones, you're the leader of the Westboro Baptist Church. Now, I want to ask you, why do you preach hate at your Baptist congregation? Well, haven't you ever read the Bible, Guadalupe? The Bible, just read the Bible. You know, we picket those funerals because, you know, America is evil. And if there's one thing we can't stand is soldiers fighting over there for our freedoms. So, you know, we picket and we put picket signs up and we dance around the funeral of Marines. And we have signs that read, thank God for dead soldiers. Our other signs that we like to put up say, you're going straight to hell. And our favorite one that we like to put is, God hates the USA. Well, Jim Jones, pastor of Westboro Baptist Church, you've been feeding your people some awfully thick, syrupy lies over there, haven't you? God hates the USA. Thank God for dead soldiers. Well, how about this one? We at the Dead Cat Puppet Show say, thank God for Westboro Baptist dead preachers. If you can practice your First Amendment rights over there at that funeral, we can practice our First Amendment rights right here on the Dead Cat Puppet Show. So what I would like to say, unequivocally stated with the unreserved and greatest contempt, is thank God for dead Westboro pastures. Thank God for Westboro. I'm getting confused. I'm a Chihuahua. Thank God for them dead Westboro pastures. Now, our next guest tonight on the Dead Cat Puppet Show. Is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts. Now, John, what I want to know is we believe in First Amendment rights, and I hope that you protect my rights if they should ever come into question. You know, I have a First Amendment right, but I always assumed that the First Amendment rights to freedom of speech were to uplift the country and uphold certain standards of decency. Now, how do you feel about these standards of decency that you seem to believe are unconstitutionally unsound. Well, let me tell you something, Guadalupe. First of all, when we're dealing with the law, we are relying on language. Now, language is a difficult subject to talk about. It's fastidious and hard to understand. Now, I'm sure you wouldn't understand one word of anything that I read or say or do on any given day. So, what we trying to decide here with Sam, Steve, Ruth, Elena, Tony, Sonia, and Clarence, my associates, what we're trying to decide here is the best way for America to proceed under their constitutionally granted First Amendment rights. Now, I understand that people have lost their moral bearing and that their language is foul and gutter talk. But what we want to do at the Supreme Court is uphold the First Amendment rights. Now, you can be a Westboro Baptist minister, or you can be a Westboro Pap smear, or you can be a Westboro Dead Pap star minister, superstar for all I care. We at the Supreme Court don't like to mix words, but we like to mix drinks when we go out at night after everybody has made their final decision regarding the First Amendment rights. Well, John, I sure hope that you don't have a couple of drinks before you figure out my First Amendment rights, because I think what we at the Dead Cat Puppet Show are going to do is we are going to begin harassing the Westboro Baptist Church. Now, I don't call it a Baptist church because that's giving it a little bit too much credit. We're going to call it the Westboro Pap Smear Church. Now, we're going to interview Jim Jones one more time and ask him what he thinks of labeling his congregation the Westboro Pap Smear Church. Jim Jones, what do you think?
Well, I tell you, have you tried the Kool-Aid yet?
I've heard that line before. Where have I heard that line before? Where have I heard that line before? Jim Jones, stop making jokes. What are you going to do when we label you the Westboro Pap Smear Church of Hate and Deceit? What are you going to do? Are you going to exercise your First Amendment rights to exercise me from the YouTube? What are you going to do, Jim Jones?
Well, we might pick at the Dead Cat Puppet Show. I understand that you are controversial, and I understand that you don't like Baptist ministers. Now, I sat down to tea with the Chief John Roberts of the Justice of the Supreme Court, and he said, you know, little tainty Westboro Baptist bear, continue on your rampage in vigilante talk. He said it was okay to say whatever we want. And even if it hurts families and makes people sick at their stomach, we represent Jesus, and we hope that the world sees the love of Jesus in our congregation.
Well, thank you, Jim Jones. I think we will maybe have you on the show again. And thank you, John Roberts. We might invite some of the other associate justices on the show. We understand that the ruling has been handed down that the Westboro that the Westboro Pap Smear Church has its constitutional freedoms. Well, we at the Dead Cat Puppet Show also have ours, and we are going to rake the Westboro Pap Smear Church over the coals again and again and again. No respect for dead, no respect for decency, and no respect for the Messiah who preached love, you Jim Jones of the Westboro Baptist Church. You can take your crap and put it in a lake somewhere. We will see you next time on the Dead Cat Puppet Show. Honey,
nice sound.